Regardless of how close you follow One Punch Man, I'm sure you've pondered at one time or another of what the hell is going on with Amai Mask. Because I'll tell you, when I originally saw the first season of One Punch Man, I found Amai Mask to be one of the most intriguing characters. So one of the original questions I asked, of course, is how strong is this guy, considering he talks such a big game for being an A-class hero. But another question I pondered was, is he a monster? So in this video, we're going to try to figure out the answer to that question, because let me tell you, there is a lot of damning evidence to support the argument of him actually being one. So let's go back to the first instance of us questioning Amai Mask, and that is at the end of the first season when we see his eyes become crazy and red after he is demeaning the S-class heroes. And after this point in the manga, we further see Amai Mask do this again, except he adds on to it when he becomes veiny and weird. And he would go on to do this multiple times afterwards. And from what we've seen from the other heroes ranging from Class C to S, this is not typical. In fact, as far as I know, Amai Mask is the only one to exhibit this type of transformational behavior. So besides the suspicious aesthetic, Amai Mask also has superhuman strength. I mean, we've seen bits of this when he just splatters the monsters throughout the manga, but this is most prominently put on display in Chapter 94 when he one-hands a huge piece of building debris. So yeah, superhuman strength isn't really that unusual for a hero, especially those at the top. But we also have to remember that monsters almost always exhibit abnormal levels of strength. We've seen that heroes like Tank Top Master and Super Ally Darkshine have trained their entire lives extensively to gain the amount of strength that they have, along with putting on crazy amounts of muscle. But with Amai Mask, that doesn't really seem to be the case. He's not particularly muscular, and he never really shows that he trains the way that they do. So let's just add that to the list of suspect things for Amai Mask. So now let's go into Amai Mask's origin, which really isn't that well known, and it's because it's buried in the databook. So Amai Mask's original hero name was Secret Mask, and this was because he wore a mask to hide his identity. But after a certain event, which we are not privy to, he decided to remove his mask, and after everyone saw his beautiful face, his hero name was later changed to Amai Mask, or Sweet Mask. So let me just also add that it is not mentioned whether Amai Mask was originally an idol before this, or he became an idol after his face reveal. As far as I could find, at least. I mean, if you have the information on this, please let me know. But regardless, this strikes me as very suspicious, so let's add that to the list, and I'll come back to it later. So now let's go into something that Amai Mask has personally said that I feel is more evidence to support him being a monster. So back in Chapter 93, Amai Mask is arguing with Zombie Man, and he goes on to accuse Zombie Man of being a monster and claims that his abnormal body is incredibly sketchy. And to me, this sounds like Amai Mask is projecting his own insecurities onto Zombie Man. So you might be thinking, Shonen, you're reading way too much into this, my man. And I understand why you would think that, but I personally believe in the writing of One, and I do think that he is trying to get this point across with a character as complex as Amai Mask. So in order for me to go any further into this video and to back up the claims I've already made, I'm going to have to get into some webcomic spoilers. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen, I suggest checking out now. So as we know, Amai Mask exhibits an incredibly sketchy body himself, which I think further backs up my claim of him projecting here on the Zombie Man. And that, of course, is because he can reattach his limbs and survive being shot through the chest by the evil natural water. So just put the red eyes and the veininess and the super strength aside for a minute. This is a crazy abnormal ability. So since we're in spoiler territory here, let me also go into another super suspicious thing Amai Mask has said. So in Chapter 97 of the webcomic, Amai Mask is arguing with some other idol turned heroes, and it eventually gets to the point of the conversation where Amai Mask says, "What would you do if I was a monster? If one appeared in front of you like this?" And of course they retort with some crap talk, but then Amai Mask begins to transform, and the idol heroes begin to shiver and they can't stop trembling. And Amai Mask responds with, "That's your instincts warning you. You and I are far too biologically different. So that about does it for all of the suspicious things that Amai Mask has done and all the evidence that we really have to support the claim of him being a monster. So now I'm going to be going into what makes a monster and what could be happening with Amai Mask here. So when Dr. Genius is explaining monster transformations to Zombie Man, he goes on to say that when a human transforms into a monster, it's caused by an abnormal cell reaction triggered by an explosion of negative emotions, and it particularly happens in those prone with vices or an inferiority complex. So now that we have that in mind, let me go back to when Amai Mask fought Fura Ugly, and we get the explanation of what an Eggman is. So it is said that a type of monster that appears sometimes, an ugly monster, aka an Eggman. There is a pattern of formerly ugly humans becoming monsters as a result of bullying from their peers or being turned down by the opposite sex. The feelings of jealousy or inferiority turn into hatred, covering their hearts with darkness dyed with evil. So it's very possible that this is the origin of Amai Mask, and that might be the reason why he is unable to fight against Eggmans as well. Since when he sees an Eggman like Fura Ugly, he is seeing himself and what he formerly was, and his deep-seated insecurities paralyze him in fear. So let's go back to what we found out in the data book about Amai Mask, when we found out that he originally did his hero work wearing a mask, but after an event that we are not aware of, he eventually took the mask off and revealed his beautiful face. So it's very possible that Amai Mask was born ugly and teased into becoming an Eggman, or transforming into a monster. And after training and honing his skills, he eventually was able to turn into a beautiful human. And this could be somewhat similar to what we see with Hellfire and Gale when they are able to transform from their monster forms back into a human and vice versa. So there it is. I think that is very likely the secret behind Amai Mask and his origin story as well. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, because that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. If you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It's only $2 and it gives you access to a weekly Q&A that I do on this channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. I'll see y'all in the next one.